Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Open your eyes, because we got a surprise. Some major league clubs try to throw away the past. The Mariners throw the Yankees for a loop. The Twins throw everybody off stride. The Expos throw out early pennant vibes. The Phillies win without a throw. And Sparky Anderson throws questions at Pete Rose. All just a stone's throw away on This Week in Baseball. Brought to you by Gillette. When it comes to personal grooming, most people come to Gillette, makers of Atra Razor, America's original pivoting head razor.
He wasn't before, now he's an Atra. He wasn't before, now he's an Atra. Now he's an Atra.
Gillette Atra, the pivoting head razor 8 out of 10 triers preferred to anything they'd ever used before. Superior face-hugging action with new micro-smooth twin blades make Atra Gillette's best shave. So,
don't be a before, move up to Atra.
When a $40 million aircraft comes in for a service check, you take charge. In 10 short hours, it's all systems go. Now comes Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, and you got the time, we've got the beer, Miller beer.
In Montreal, there may be some great restaurants, but teams no longer expect to fatten up on the Expos, now coming into their own in the National League East. Young players like Warren Cromartie look ready for Major League stardom. In April, Cromartie hit a cool .369, and his 19-game hitting streak broke the club record. Also on a streak, Gary Carter, Expo catcher and potential all-star, who batted .349 in April, and in 1 week, a .565 average, 5 home runs, and 10 RBIs. With hitting like that, and a little help from slumping teams like the Giants and Dodgers, the Expos won 7 straight, moving into first place in the East. And Carter likes it there, a leader on the leaders.
My position definitely is behind the plate. I feel like I can be a leader behind there, as well as producing not only defensively but offensively as well. But my main objective is just to go out there and play good, sound baseball, and to have a good rapport and help my pitchers along as much as I possibly can.
And what better way to help than to erase those base runners? Carter was 4 for 4 in that department in 1 week. As for the relief department, the Expos have shown a deep and effective bullpen, one that has fans thinking pennant in '79. Elias Sosa, with 2 wins and 2 saves, has been the stopper. Manager Dick Williams thinks the Expos are now ready.
Yeah, we think we're contenders. The only thing is we have a lot of players that haven't been through that pressure area where Pittsburgh has and Philadelphia has. So if we can get off to a decent start and they get to believing in themselves, the talent is there.
The talent has been there in Philadelphia for years, but Pete Rose has not. Phils figure he was the man they missed in recent playoff losses to Los Angeles. Fittingly, Rose beat the Dodgers with this ninth-inning hit as the Phils swept a three-game series. Earlier, Rose talked baseball with his former manager, Sparky Anderson.
You know, to me, you're two different people, and I think the public ought to know it. When you're playing baseball, you're one person. I call you a man that will do anything to win and actually
You call me an animal.
Well, I call you the animal, that's right.
I have to agree with you that I am somewhat of an animal when I'm on the field because I just like to win. And, you know, a lot of that is instilled because of my father, and that was my younger days. And in my big league days, you instilled a lot of that into me. You know, you hate to lose, and you know, when you start keeping the kids out of the clubhouse because we lose, or keeping the food off the table because we lose, you know, you don't want to lose it.
You know, Peter, you were raised in Cincinnati, and you played your whole career for the Cincinnati ball clubs up until now, and now you go to the Philadelphia Phillies, and you have to play another position. How tough is that going to be on you?
It'd be tough for most guys. It's just like, I just look at it like this. I remember in 1975 on May 4th, a guy with number 10 come on his back and told me, you know, did you get your ground balls yet? I said, I already took them in left field. At that time, I was a left fielder. And he said, no, I mean at third base. I said, why? He said, I want you to play third base. And I said, when you want me to play it? And you give me a long time to think about it. He said, tomorrow, he said. So May 5th, I went to third base, and we won 2 straight World Series. But I don't really worry about going to first base, because if I can help the Phillies win the World Series or get to the World Series, I'll be happy to do anything, because really baseball is a team game.
One thing, though, Peter, going to the Phillies, you do have a lot of friends over there, and Larry Bowa and Greg Lazinski and a lot of those people.
Oh, yeah, you know how Bowa was with me in my younger days, his younger days, and Lazinski and Schmitty and Gary Maddox is just one tremendous guy, and Danny Ozark, who you always had the utmost respect for. I mean, they got some good players over there. They got what we had in Cincinnati and what the Yankees have and what the Dodgers have. I think they got a lot of consistent players, and I think the teams with the most consistent players is the team that's going to win the most games.
You know, Pete, Danny Ozark's floating around like he's reached heaven already, just having you over there. He's just on cloud 9.
I got a kick out of something my little boy said the other day, and I hope he keeps this attitude. You know, the other day after I was over on the diamond, I was working out extra for about an hour, and my little boy went in Danny's office, and he looked at Danny Ozark, and he was as serious as he could be, and he asked Danny, he said, you think my dad's got a chance of making this team?
Danny told me that. He says, you know, he come in, he said, you think my daddy can make this team?
I tell you, that's a great attitude for a kid to have, because, you know, it just goes to show you, no matter how successful your dad is or how much money he makes, if he believes inside you got to keep bearing down in order to be number one, it's going to help him in the long run, too.
With those two gone, how about the Cincinnati Reds? Well, manager John McNamara had them in second place in the National League West, behind the surprising Houston Astros. Rose's third base replacement, Ray Knight's been all right, with a .310 batting average the first month. Joe Morgan is back, looking like his old self, with a .329 average. The Reds are hitting, but not yet burning up the lead. And as for Rose, the Reds play down his absence.
The loss of Rose, you know, people say, how much is that going to hurt you? I don't know. I don't think it's going to hurt us as much as people think, in that last year we finished 2.5 games behind, you know, and I was injured most of the season. Johnny Bench was hurt most of the season. Danny Dreesen was out most of the season with a sore arm. And Tom Seaver is a better pitcher than he showed last year. And we're going to get all these guys back, and I think that'll make up for the offensive loss of Pete Rose.
Replacing Rose in the leadoff spot is Ken Griffey, who looks like he belongs. A .361 April average and plenty of speed. And don't forget that man out in left field, George Foster. He can nail a base runner. And you know he can hammer the ball. A .383 average, a league-leading 22 RBIs. Sparky and Pete are missed, but Since is feeling fine in 79.
The only advice I have for the LA Dodgers or the San Francisco Giants is that the Big Red Machine will be back this year.
Now it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz. Cincinnati's Tom Seaver and Baltimore's Jim Palmer have each won 3 Cy Young Awards, but never an MVP. Can you name the last pitcher to win the Most Valuable Player award? Stay tuned.
That Volkswagen Rabbit really handles. Is that why you're driving it?
Not really.
Well, is it because it can go from 0 to 50 in 8.3 seconds? But then why are you driving a Rabbit?
Because it has more headroom than my Rolls Royce.
Is that such a big deal?
It is. If you're Will Chamberlain.
Volkswagen does it again.
In the American League East, the Baltimore Orioles have lately been shaking and shaking up the opposition. Ken Singleton shakes a power stick. 7 homers, 20 RBIs. Recently, everything's been falling for Baltimore, winning 12 of 13, quietly creeping into first place.
We play well and we win ball games, but the fans of the nation really don't know the Orioles. They know the Yankees and the Red Sox, and maybe they don't know the Orioles too much. In a way, that's good. There's not that much pressure on us like there is on the Yankees to win or the Red Sox. And when we are up there in the pennant race, it's kind of like people are kind of saying, well, they'll fold, but we're always in there at the end.
Strong defense has always been an Oriole trademark, but the time now has come to pay attention to their batting marks. The new face at half-mast is Gary Renicky, an April .306 batting average with a promising power stroke. Power-hitting Eddie Murray is concentrating on consistency with a 14-game hitting streak during Baltimore's surge. And veteran Lee May was thumping in April. A .325 average, 5 homers, 16 RBIs. The Orioles may be known for starting pitching and defense, but it's also the bats and the bullpen. Rookie Tim Stoddard, a teammate of David Thompson on North Carolina State's collegiate basketball champions, is now a member of a much improved bullpen, one that's aiming to make Earl Weaver's Orioles baseball champions. With or without the publicity, it's tough to knock the flop.
There's no doubt that we'll be a contender. I just think there's too many spots on this ball club where we are definitely strong and where we can win ball games just on one swing. So we're going to win our share of games, and when you're putting games in the win column, you're going to be right in there toward the end.
The Seattle Mariners aren't ready to contend, but the Kingdome is ready to host this year's All-Star game. And, man, they're ready anytime to host the world champion New York Yankees. Put the Yankees and Mariners together in the Dome, and you've got a serious case of displaced identity. Perhaps the Yankees could best solve the case on a psychiatric couch, but there's been no such luck on the Kingdome Diamond. No matter what the analysis, New York has now lost 11 out of 14 in the Dome. The Mariners, after losing 11 straight themselves, had their fans smiling with 3 straight late-inning wins over the champions. And Willie Horton, the ancient Mariner, helped win the first one with a home run. Then in the 8th inning of the next game, with the score tied, Horton came through again, giving Seattle a 1-run lead. In the 9th, reliever Shane Rawley was trying to hold the lead with 2 Yankees on. Center fielder Rupert Jones comes to the rescue. Another Mariner win. In Game 3, Tommy John was nursing a 5-2 lead, but Willie Horton and the Mariners got a break. Watch. Willie Randolph dropped the ball, and soon John was replaced by Paul Mirabella. Now down 5-3, the Mariners started chipping away in the 9th. Another bullpen call. This time, Ron Davis tries to shut the door, but standing in the way, Yankee albatross Willie Horton. And the ancient Mariner does it again. A base hit to tie the game. Dick Tidrow comes in to face Bruce Bochy. Base hit, and the Mariners win 6-5. After 3 straight 1-run victories, Seattle was sad to see the Yankees leave. The Minnesota Twins of manager Gene Mauch have had fun since the year's begun. They came to Tiger Stadium, where the scorecard had yet to see Mark Fidrich and Rusty Staub. While Detroit awaited their return, Minnesota took 2 of 3. Jerry Koosman's caught the league by surprise with 5 wins. But everyone has had to look out for the Twins, who won 14 of 21 and moved into first place in the American League West. Gene Mauch may miss Rod Carew, but his no-names can play. Rob Wilfong at second base. At shortstop, Roy Smalley. Smalley happens to be Mauch's nephew, but he earns his keep. With a 4-for-5 day against the Tigers, he pushed his average to 400 to go along with 4 homers, 13 RBIs. Glenn Adams also triggers the Twins' attack, a .328 batting average in April. Also stroking, catcher Butch Weininger with a .314 average and 15 RBIs. After the loss of Carew, few expected Minnesota to score so many runs. Mighty comforting to pitchers like Jeff Zahn, who against the Tigers upped his record to 3-0. Of course, Gene Mauch plays a winning hand with his twin twirler in the bullpen, Mike Marshall, Ph.D., Doctor of Saves. Marshall's allegiance to Mauch caused him to re-sign with the Twins, one free agent that Minnesota didn't lose. And Minnesota rarely loses behind Iron Mike, 8 saves and 2 wins in 1 month. Now the answer to this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the '79 Rabbit, Dasher, and Scirocco. Volkswagen does it again. The last pitcher to be named MVP, Vida Blue, then of the Oakland A's. In 1971, at the age of 22, Blue went 24-8 with a 1.82 ERA. How about that?
He wasn't before. Now he's an Atra. He wasn't before. Now he's an Atra. Now he's an Atra.
Gillette Atra, the pivoting head razor 8 out of 10 triers preferred to anything they'd ever used before. Superior face-hugging action with new micro-smooth twin blades make Atra Gillette's best shave. So,
don't be a before, move up to Atra.
The Porsche 924, except for the roll bar, harness, and fire extinguisher, it's a showroom model. What do racing drivers like about this Porsche?
It's like the car was running on rails.
It's the way that this car comes out of the turns. It's just fantastic.
The cornering, the balance. I've driven Datsun Zs, but I prefer this 924.
Racers helped design this car. Believe me, racers can tell.
What will you like about the Porsche 924? You'll never know till you try one, will you?
Hey, folks, want to crash a crazy party? Well, just feast your eyes on the bash they threw in Philadelphia. Over 50,000 showed up. Man, Truman Capote never had a party like this. Happy birthday, Philly fanatic. On the guest list, nothing but BICs, very illogical creatures. A fanatic's fantasia with felicitations from all over the major leagues. So it went, birds of a feather making whoopee together. All that remained was for the guest of honor to make a wish and blow out the candle. Philadelphia returns to the far-out finale. Now, back to real life on the ball field, where the action was hot around second base. Let's begin with Cleveland's Dwayne Kuiper, a star attraction of recent years. Nobody does it better. Man alive. Other second base sensations. Ted Sizemore of the Chicago Cubs, with help from Bill Buckner. From Houston, Art Howe. How about that? For the Mets, snared by Doug Flynn, but no time for the double play. Philadelphia's new man at second, Manny Trillo. Finally, in Oakland, Keystoner Mike Edwards, turning a sure hit into a sure out with a force at second. That's baseball, and no one's ever sure till it's all over. For the Chicago Cubs, it appeared over as they trailed the Braves in Atlanta 5-0 with 2 out in the ninth. Tim Blackwell, the batter. Two-run score, 5-2 Atlanta. Now it's Larry Bittner's turn. Five to 3 Atlanta. Now Bobby Mercer. There it is. Going, it is gone. A 3-run homer for Mercer. And it's Chicago 6, Atlanta 5. That proved to be the final score and proved the old Yogi Berra-ism, you're never out of it until you're out of it. And Out of This World best describes this week's Gillette Special, also from Atlanta. Chicago's Dave Kingman unloads, and just take a look at this. That's right fielder Gary Matthews of the Braves. And for this catch, a standing ovation at the Gillette Special. And watch it one more time. Highway robbery in broad daylight. Well, that's all he wrote, folks. So see you next week on This Week in Baseball.
English leather cologne for men.